Match the energy of being a team player. That's what it's all about. Because when you learn how to match the energy of the team or whatever energies that you want to be a part of, you have to learn how to be a player, right? You have to learn how to play the game without getting sucked into the actual thing itself, but just knowing the movements and the actions that are going to happen next. So, again, if you're a team player, you know all the positions. You don't run over there and try to be that teammate's position. You just know the position and you play the play in your head. This is how you don't become the game. You know the game, right? This is what it's all about. Because when you are trying to do the game solo, then you get stuck thinking that you're competing with everyone and you're not. It's all about learning the blueprint. Welcome back to Along the Spiritual Journey. Now, what I was explaining is when you have to listen to energy, energy is about fast, rapid action. Sometimes it comes slow at you, but it's about concentration. It's about focus. It's about understanding the rhythm and how it's going to come through like a wave. It's about understanding the pace and how it's pulsating. And right at that pulse on that empty blank pulse, you go through so that you don't get split in half. It's the whole Indiana Jones thing that we love to watch as kids. It's learning how to be a team player with energy. So, what does this mean spiritually? When you yourself are able to be, when we say positive and negative, we're not talking about being a good boy or a bad girl or doing something that is a crime or a law or a moral created by humans. I'm talking about natural laws of the universe, which is saying there is a push and a pull. There's an ebb and a flow. To every ebb, there's a flow. To every flow, there's an ebb. To every up, there's a down. All pressure means it's contained or it can burst out. This is what it's about. We talk about understanding, understanding, outstanding, all these things, right? But it all comes back to energy. And either you choose to be the negative energy or you choose to be the positive energy. Now, sometimes you're born into negative energy and sometimes you're born into positive energy. That doesn't mean that you're not the negative energy in the positive and that you're not the positive energy in the negative. One of the examples I thought of was kind of like I love watching the history and stories of people. And of course, celebrities are the easiest to watch because everyone has all their receipts on them so they can talk about it. But I always found it fascinating the yin yang experiences of Tupac and Paris Hilton. I know, but think about it. Tupac grew up in the darkness, in the womb of it all, right? He talks about mama and the women and boys and growing up and trying to become something. He was the light in the darkness. Paris Hilton talks about how everything in her life was in the light. Everything was given to her. Everything was there, but she was seen as the darkness within the light, right? This makes yin yang. This is how yin yang works. It's the pressure. But both of them were working against what they were given to become something else. That's how we know their names, right? Because at the end of the day, before I knew Hilton as a brand, I didn't know any of the family members until Paris Hilton came along, right? So the same thing with Tupac. I didn't know who this man was until he started doing music and acting because he had to express this energy that was a pressure gauge inside of him. This is why it's important to know what team player means. Team player is knowing that, okay, I have this energy inside of me that, again, you can call it whatever you want to call it. I call it the soul, I call it spirit. And then this human flesh body is my avatar and ego. And so I know physically that I am physically here in this reality alive. But I also know that this body will pass. Every single body will pass. I've watched animals pass, elderly pass. I know that that body that is left was that person's name, but that soul in them was somebody else, okay? Those are pressures. And so each of them have a path. This is why I say it's important to be functional, to have purpose, and then your desires are born. I know a lot of people say, well, you can just be on this earth and have no purpose. You're serving a purpose being on this earth. So even though you say you don't have to have purpose, that is the purpose. So right there, you're your own yin yang. That's what they're trying to say. By simply existing, you are serving your purpose on this earth. But there's some of us who understand beyond our human avatar. That's great, but I don't want to do that. Just sit and do nothing forever. I have a soul in me that wants to express itself, and a spirit that wants to show how it knows things about life and how it loves to enjoy those things in life. So that's when I started to learn, okay, I have to be a team player as the human because there's a lot of things I've done that I'm just like, I am not happy. I am not happy, and I felt depressed, but my soul was like, I want to do this. And I had this weird pressure to keep doing this thing that I had no desire to do. And that's why I did soul work. So when I do soul work, I can ask my soul, what do you really want? What do you remember from your past that you think you love, that you have to keep doing? And it's like, and this is when people say it's all hippy dippy, but that's fine. Whatever comes to mind. I want to be a painter. I want to be a dancer. I want to do this. Okay. That's what the imagination is for. None of us can control our thoughts or our imagination, they just happen. So, therefore, there is something that needs to be released or received through this energy of being a team player. When the ego, the human flesh, learns how to cooperate with each other. Because remember, the ego is created by society, where people tell us we are who we are. Oh my God, you look good, you this, you that, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. But then I take that and go back by myself and say, oh, am I really that? Am I all these things? Okay, so then the human and the ego have to agree. They have to figure out their life. That's what we call that twin flame journey. It can be romantic or within yourself. That's why we'd say you have to understand the twin flame journey, because you're forever chasing this energy that doesn't exist because you created it with your ego before you really knew, before it was developed. Okay, great. Soulmate energy. This is when you both recognize we have this thing that we love. Let's say it's music. We both love music. We both do different types of music, completely different types of genres. I'm a great songwriter. You're a great instrument player. Together we collab. Oh my God, that is soulmate energy, because now I can produce, you can write, we can do. Now we have the whole bundle. That's what it's about. That's where you let the team player, because when people say, well, that's not my usual type, that's the point, because it's not for the ego anymore, it's for the soul. And if the ego can say, you know what, soul, I love you more and I want your story to be had more, so like let's let you pick a soulmate. That's where you get to let go of the ego. If the ego was like, no, I need a certain type, a certain look, that have to be a certain way, la 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 la. Okay, well then the soul, you might be with that person and be thinking in your head this whole time in this relationship, like, why is this person perfect, but I don't want to be with them? Because you and your soul don't get along. You're not a team player. Your soul doesn't like them. Their soul and your soul, their soul's empty. Your soul is alive. But your egos like to mash. But after you're done, you have nothing to talk about. You get it? That's why you have to learn how to be a team player with your energy. All energy is about is saying, listen, if I play along with what my ego knows it wants to feel safe and just feel like it has stability. Got it. I can do that. Then the soul needs to stop wandering and thinking everywhere it needs to go and every time it's told. Because sometimes that's just old energy telling you to go visit a place you liked and reminded you of that place. But you didn't complete a timeline, so now you're just stuck there. And you're like, why do I want to leave again? Because you never complete timelines. You kept leaving. I had to learn this the hard way. You have to close timelines. You have to complete them and say, I am done here. I got everything I needed and go. Don't run away. Walk away. It's always important, because if you run away, it's going to follow you. So you got to be a team player with energy. When you say, okay, fine, let me just face it head on, just get it out of the way. Again, I'm not saying you have to admit to anything that you don't want to admit to. But what I am saying is you have to understand ebb and flow of energy. So when you say things are happening in your life, you got to look at, what am I accepting? What am I allowing? What am I participating in? What am I not participating in? And then you'll start figuring out, oh, this is the game I'm playing. That's the game they're all playing, but this is the game I'm playing, right? Because collectively, with subcultures, we can come together and say we're playing a game together. But individually, we're still playing our own game that we have to know how to see it, the blueprint, and read it properly and know that, okay, that player's this position and they're going to play that position always, and that's who they think they are. But I have the playbook. So I'm going to play the whole floor and play all the players against themselves while I do my own thing, right? So this is all it's about. I don't know if that made sense, but love you.